Welcome to Sentinel Talk Show. I am Dr. Erdal Ozkaya, and I'm really happy to be with you this week again here. And this week, I have dear Ashish Khanna as my guest, who works as CISO advisor in Dubai for a government entity. Welcome to the show, Ashish.
Thank you so much, Erdal. Thank you so much, Doctor. Yes.
Who are you? Why should people listen to you? What do you want to share today with us?
Yeah, I am actually having 14 plus years of experience into the cybersecurity domain, and I'm working currently into a government entity. But before that, I have had a host
banking,
of experiences
telecom,
with banking, with education, with industrial cleaning. And some industrial cleaning domain, fantastic. I mean, most of the people don't know about it, but faces a lot of threats. And telecom, one of my favorites. So the whole.
I mean, they're all really great, and it makes me excited. Facing threats. I mean, as advisor to CISO or CISO myself, plus you being in healthcare, I think everybody is aware. COVID-19. Unfortunately, we're in 2021 and about to finish 2021, but we are still facing with COVID. COVID brought lots of pressure to every industry. But being in healthcare, I bet you had much bigger pressure, even more threats. So can you please tell us, how did COVID affect you?
COVID has affected us tremendously because we have never experienced our threat modeling has actually changed. Because we are, I would say that whether it's healthcare, financial, industry, whatever it is, we all are technology-based companies providing services. It's healthcare service, banking service, industrial, whatever. But healthcare, why it was different is because there were certain kinds of attacks which CISOs specifically into healthcare would never have, imagined it or have a factored into their risk assessments. That has been the most key item that COVID-19 has brought. Supply chain attacks with respect to your systems, people going online in a span of day or two. Span of 48 hours, the whole administration is online from offsite and giving services on freely available internet. So these kind of threats have never been factored into. So the quick shift that has been made by the healthcare professionals, specifically when it comes to security, it's been tremendous. And this is keeping everybody on our toes,
I mean, saying here with COVID, you can see my hair in Sydney, Australia, which I am at the moment. Unfortunately, we are in lockdown, no barber for the last 2 months. We are locked here. Let's see what other effects we're going to see in the upcoming futures, but thank you. A few minutes ago, you also mentioned that, hey, you know what, many people in the industry, they don't know about the cleaning, right? So can you please tell us the threats you are facing there, and maybe the recommendations that you give your CISO or another CISO? I mean, what is happening and what is the right thing to do right now?
Right now, the best advice that I would give back is that many of the CISOs, because of this, the big boom of digital transformation that has come up, people are looking for more technologies. My best advice to CISOs all across and globally, whoever are listening or will listen to this show, would be to start backtracking and looking into the environment that you are facing threats to. So introspect more rather than just bringing in solutions. That's the number one advice, which is very, very crucial, because I think as CISOs, we try to cope up with the technology landscape, with the threat landscape, but we forget about looking inside how the changes are affecting the insider threat landscape, how it is changing. That gets ignored most of the time. So which shouldn't be happening, because in this time of transformations, in this time of whether COVID has brought a lot of bad news, but it has also brought a lot of opportunities for people to bring in new technologies. The insider threat landscape has also boomed out. So you need to look back again and start fresh with respect to how you are facing these challenges inside.
Saying insider, I mean, first thing which comes to my mind is DLP and some other having proper policies, procedures. So I'm a CISO, you're my advisor. What should I do?
Right. The best advice, if you're my CISO, would be to understand that rather than looking just at the C, I, and A, which is the basic of information security, you should actually
confidentiality, integrity, availability, just in case someone doesn't know.
yeah, just in case, yeah. You should be actually looking at how the privacy and anonymity of your assets and your services gets impacted, which in turn results into the adversaries exploiting the threats that you have inside in your environment. So this is a
very good
crucial aspect because it converts your privacy and anonymity of assets to your security of assets and those three key pillars which you just mentioned.
Insider threats, I mean, as a code, this is good enough, but saying that you're in a hospital environment, it came just to my mind, honestly. I'm pretty sure you heard what happened in Germany. There was a ransomware attack. Look, cybersecurity. We all know we live in the edge. And usually a CISO lives for 2.5 years in an organization. Yes. And they change jobs. Honestly, when you look at my history, Secunia, 1.5 years, the bank, Standard Chartered Bank, exactly 2 years. I was not fired, to be very honest. I had to move ahead, but it fits into the time frame. And when I was advisor myself to CISOs, that's what I used to notice. Lots of CISOs used to change. Why? We are in the edge. But for even if I get fired, I know I can find another job. But what happened in Germany, if you get hacked, you can restore from backup, or in some cases, companies paid ransom, they will get their data back. I mean, everything can happen, right? But what happened in Germany in a hospital is a patient lost their life. I mean, I can get my job back. You can get your data back. You can arrest the ransomware threat actor group and maybe release all the data if you're lucky enough. But lives, and you work in such an environment that one mistake can cause actually lives, which is unfortunately no reset button, no restart button. Maybe you can try to do heart massage. So being extra, in an extra agile environment, what measures do you put different compared to other organizations? Maybe nothing, I don't know, I really don't know the answer. I never worked to healthcare directly. I helped a couple of ISO, SMS implementations years ago, but what are you doing differently in your environment? I mean, when I say you, of course, doesn't have to be you. What's happening there?
Yeah. So many of the people don't know. Let me, tell them who will be listening is that healthcare environment is one of the biggest in, in terms of OT infrastructure. Most of the people think of healthcare environment to be only either record specific or patient information specific. But right now, most of the healthcare environments are majorly governed by non-IT assets, that is IT-enabled assets. For example, electronic biomedical machines, example, MRIs, infusion pumps. These are all connected OT infrastructure. So the biggest challenge is first to protect this environment and segment it out of the usual IT environment, which is very, very crucial because that gives you first layer of defense when it comes to the usual security threats that are achieved by, that are basically exercised by just simply a user clicking on a phishing email. And that's the most primitive method still applicable, still being exercised against organizations worldwide. But that's the main aspect of this healthcare environment is keeping your OT devices segregated from your IT network completely. There should be a physical segregation, not just logical segregation. And then you should have the agentless capabilities to track the traffic and its behavior analytics onto these devices, because these devices are not that flexible like a usual laptop server or a desktop where you can install agents for your sensor data. So you have to make sure that there is no performance impact because the patients, these devices are being used on the patients while you are monitoring them. And also you have to make sure that the anonymity and privacy of the patient information flowing in and out of this device is intact because of the regulatory landscape. So this is something which is very different from being into a banking organization or industrial cleaning or education organization.
True, true. I mean, one thing is definitely can be applied everywhere, many other things as well. Defense in depth, or as you said, don't keep your most important assets next to less important assets. Ensure you have defense in depth and you have a proper segmentation. That I agree. And regardless of which industry you are, this should be implemented for sure. And the rest, depends on some, I could just relate to some of the organization, to industries, but I totally agree with you. Okay. You also worked in telecom. So when you look at telecom industry, I mean, you've been, and then cleaning, and then healthcare. What is the common problem of cybersecurity?
The common problem which I have seen is that the weakest link in this chain is human being. Whether that human being is using a device, administering a device, or whether is entitled to be a custodian of a device. Because we commit mistakes, and that is where the other human beings, which are the adversaries, they take advantage of. So that's a common issue which I have seen.
Correct. I mean, social engineering. I have a whole book about it. Human will be always the weakest link, and that's why social engineering is the art of hacking, human hacking, actually. So what are we going to do? Are we going to shoot all the humans, or are we going to put captures saying that, hey, verify that you are not a robot? Or like, what is the advice here? I mean, you can look, two things in any industry. Maybe telecom industry, you can minimize human, but in healthcare industry, you're going to have lots of non-IT literated professionals, doctors, nurses, and so on. In telecom, maybe you can minimize that. So, and honestly, can you imagine a doctor being in operation for 6-7 hours, and then in that 5 minutes break, he or she checks him or her email, and there is an email where she or he clicks. I mean, what can you do to minimize that? What are you doing to minimize that?
See, one thing is where we have changed our approach is accepting that the fact that cybersecurity attack is inevitable. So we are moved away from being just preventive and detective to being more cyber resilient. And how you achieve cyber resiliency is by continuously practicing. One is phishing exercises and cyber drills, but also improving those controls which are linked to your critical services. You took an example of a doctor checking an email. Well, that's very rare possibility that he would check for an email during a,
example.
But yes, definitely it's possible when he or she is diagnosing a patient. So when diagnosing a patient, then yes, definitely he would have his desktop or laptop there with him, and he will be checking emails. He has access to the electronic medical record system. So what happens is, the better your cyber resiliency controls with respect to the databases and your systems which protect information of a patient or store information of patient, the better it is when it comes to exercising them and practicing them on daily basis. And plus, there is always the angle of experimenting them with cyber drills and phishing exercises.
I love it. I mean, that's probably the most effective way, having awareness and keeping the awareness. For me, honestly, awareness is not, it's like buying a shoe. You cannot buy a shoe. When you go to a shoe store, any shoe store, Adidas, they have hundreds of different shoes where you go and pick one. And each been customized: running section, gym section, soccer section, and same applies to cyber awareness. We have to customize it based on our target audience. I love it. I love it. I mean, you have so many aspects to speak of, but I want to now come also to the Global CISO Forum. This forum, which you are part of, which I'm glad that you're part of. Why do you think people should join Global CISO Forum? What is the value for you here? Or for anybody, should they join?
Right, absolutely. I mean, at this point of time, if you are part of the ethical, if you're on the ethical side of things, that is like the CISOs and cybersecurity professionals are usually are working for different organizations, you should have a platform where you can discuss the experiences and discuss the changes that are happening in the cybersecurity platforms, cybersecurity landscape globally. And I think Global CISO Forum is providing the similar platform for CISOs, advisors, specialists to come on board, have this knowledge sharing, have these discussions with people who are like-minded and share their experiences and also share their problem statements for which they can get solutions for. Because usually when you are typically working day in and day out into a single business domain, into a one organization, you tend to be restricted, into a kind of a shell. You need to come out of the shell to think out of the box. That's where this platform like Global CISO is important.
Thank you. I totally agree. So we're trying to create a platform where we're going to share knowledge. Knowledge is power. And usually knowledge is not for free. But as the president of the forum, I promise everybody that this forum is going to be there to help you. What you're listening now, maybe is not going to help you right now, but the thing that you might learn from here can take you to another level. And this is just the show that we're talking about. I mean, I started to share lots of information, short information, some blog posts in our private forum, as the name says, and we're growing at the moment, and we are looking forward for all of you to join if you can, please. And the great news is it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. And being part of community, a global community, is for sure great. I'm in Sydney, Australia. You're in Dubai, and we are meeting in this wonderful talk show. Hopefully, everybody is agreeing with that as well, to talk about. Okay, my last question. You're an advisor. What is the biggest challenges that you see in CISOs, and what do you recommend CISOs to overcome these challenges?
I think the biggest challenge currently which the CISOs are facing is to, number one, continuation of their team's talent in terms of upgrading their talent, and also upgrading their skills themselves. Because as a CISO, you are very much restricted to a particular domain, industry, and the kind of landscape that you are in. It's very difficult during those times, especially these times where you are on your toes and even further on the edge, is to keep upgrading yourself, which is very, very crucial, because as everybody knows, this very affirmative saying that hackers, they need to only go right once. We have to be on our toes always. So that's where your talent will help you always to surface these unseen waters and have different solutions that will be required to progress further.
But if we train our, what if we train our talents and they leave?
Well, that's the organizations where they need to understand how they need to attract the right talent also, and also retain the talent. There's always discussions on human resource security, but human resource security doesn't really involve just cybersecurity awareness. It also involves how to preserve the talent in the organization, which is very, very crucial, where human resource departments should listen to this and try to retain as much talent as possible.
And this, I mean, of course, what if you don't train them and they stay, right? I mean, I still phrase from LinkedIn, some of us sharing it, but why I ask this question, this is a great example that you give. As CISOs, we are cybersecurity leaders. We have to work with major stakeholders, including HR. I left my job because honestly, they could not retain me multiple times. This includes, if you look, I sold my business, that was different. After that, most of my job changes was because I couldn't retain me. I was aiming for bigger and bigger. Even now, what is next? Am I going to be CEO? No, but I'm trying to reach out every person and every organization in the world to raise this awareness of cybersecurity, to help them to be more secure. And that's why I'm part of this forum. And that's why I deal daily, if not daily, weekly with HR, with team. And this is, as you said, the biggest difference between being a leader and a boss.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love your answer. Thank you very much, Ashish. Your closing note, anything that you want to say? Maybe I forgot to ask, or any suggestions?
I think just I would like to say that keep your best things aside, but keep practicing with some things which you don't know about. Keep knowing about the profession, as well as giving back to the profession through forums like this.
I love it. And what I'm gonna say is, where possible, where required, please wear your mask.
Wow.
Please ensure you have a hand sanitizer. Please get vaccinated. So get well, stay well, because I really miss to do the shows next to each other. I really miss, I mean, for example, in Dubai, GC Media has started already to do many shows face to face, but it's not like before where we used to have hundreds of thousands of people sometimes, you know. I'm missing these days. Stay safe. Watch this show. Come and join our forum. And thank you for joining this show. And for everybody who's watching this, thank you upfront for joining our Global CISO Forum. Even if you don't, thank you for watching the show. And I'm looking forward to see you next week. Same time, same place again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.